Good afternoon from sunny Swangard Stadium. It's a beautiful day in British Columbia. Perfect conditions for match week 25 in MLS NEXT Pro to roll on with Vancouver Whitecaps 2 playing host to Sporting Kansas City 2. The home side in the top 8, currently holding on to a playoff position, but slipping as of late, hoping to right the ship here this afternoon. Meanwhile, the visitors on the outside looking in on the playoff picture. 6 games remaining and hoping to start a late season push with a difficult match on the road, far away from home here today. These two teams just matched wits less than a month ago in Kansas City. We'll see if Sporting KC can get revenge after the penalty kick shootout. Kicks from the spot victory for the Whitecaps back at the beginning of August. Let's take a look at the standings in the Western Conference, and there sit Vancouver Whitecaps FC 2 in 6th position, but just 5 points in their last 6, winless in those last 6 matches, hoping to get back to an all 3-point performance here today. Sporting KC 2 hovering just below the playoff line. They need a push with these last 6 games. Let's take a look at the lineups, beginning with the home side. Manager Ricardo Clark naming just one change to the team that drew a thriller 2-2 at home against LAFC 2 last Sunday. In goal, Alexander Milosevic continues. The 18-year-old made his debut in that latest match. The one change, Miles Morgan coming in, sending Simmons to the bench. Meanwhile, for the visitors, Benny Feilhaber naming 5 changes. They've had a couple of weeks since their last match. 13 days ago, a 2-0 home defeat to Austin FC 2. Most notably in the lineup here this afternoon, it's a return from one of the standout performers last year for SKC 2, Alenis Vargas, getting his first appearance of the year in MLS NEXT Pro. He leads the line for SKC 2 here today.
Midfielder number 54, Mikhail Gerasimakov.
As mentioned,
Midfielder number 59,
1-1 draw between these two teams in Lawrence.
Defender number 83,
On August the 2nd, Vancouver got the bonus points.
Defender number 95, Joshua
Kicks from the mark. 2 out of the last 3 matches, getting back to the last season, has seen these two teams finish all square after the 90. It was sandwiched around rollicking SKC 2 victory last year. It's both Ricardo Clark and Benny Feilhaber spoke to me this week and mentions that the matches have been cagey between these two teams in recent history. Will that be the case this afternoon at Swangard Stadium? One of those days that makes you never want. Just beautiful sunshine here enveloping Swangard Stadium. Right around 80 degrees at the starts of this afternoon's match, and we're just about ready. Referee Amir Ramic whistle to lips, and away we go from Swangard Stadium in beautiful Burnaby, British Columbia. It's Vancouver Whitecaps FC 2 playing host to Sporting Kansas City 2, the home side, going left to right. Of course, in the dark blue, the visitors from Kansas City, where the blue on blue stripes, Sporting blue as the dominant color for the visitors here this afternoon. Vancouver coming into today in 6th place in the West, in the playoff positions as it stands, but slipping as of late and hoping to arrest that little bit of a hiccup. Winless in their last 6 matches, just 5 points picked up in those 6 games, and hoping for a 3-point haul as they return for game 2 of an important home stretch here at the back end of the season. Well, Sporting Kansas City 2, a couple of weeks off since a disappointing home defeat to Austin FC 2 13 days ago. Sitting in 11th position heading into this afternoon's contest, needing some late season heroics to try and leapfrog a couple teams, perhaps Vancouver among those targeted above them. As an opposite to their hosts here today, Sporting KC2 starting a 3-match road trip with this afternoon game in BC. Going to come for the visitors. 5 changes in total from that 2-0 home defeat to Austin FC 2 a couple of weeks ago. Here's one of them. Chelo to Shantritz into midfield. Finds Neji Alexandre. It was Leo Cristiano on the near side. It was just a bit behind Alexandre. It's back again with the home side, Vancouver. Just one change from their last time out. And what a thrilling match that was last Sunday, 2-2. It finished here against LAFC 2. Malcolm Simmons drops to the bench, replaced by Miles Morgan in today's starting 11 for manager Ricardo Clark. And had a chance to catch up with Ricardo Clark this week. Talk about that wild finish to the match last weekend. It was 0-0 at halftime before Malik Mehri scored a golazo just after the second half restart, but the remainder of the goals were saved for late on. 84th minute equalizer for LA. And Vancouver thought they had a winner in the 91st. Jay Herdman fired them into the lead, only to concede just a few minutes later. Roller coaster of emotions for Whitecaps 2. Now there's a turnover. Big chance for Sporting KC2. And it's Habibullah who fires the visitors in front. A heroic homecoming for the former Whitecaps man. Calamity at the back for the home side. And it's punished by SKC2, who take the lead 1-0 on the road early on. Fantastic composure once he pounced on the initial mistake, and Cameron Habibullah fires in for his 9th goal of the season. That ties, or that breaks the tie atop the team charts.
KC2 goals scored in the 4th minute by number 47.
And it's a perfect start for the returning Cameron Habibullah. Perfect starts for Benny Feilhaber and Sporting Kansas City 2. Vancouver will be frustrated at just how casual they were at the back and how easy the chance was given away. And now, again, Whitecaps 2 needing to try and come from behind. They scored first, as mentioned, against LAFC 2 last Sunday, but before that, previous 3 games, they had conceded first. That worrying trend continues here today for Ricardo Clark on the home side. What a feeling that must be for Habibullah. Canadian Youth International, and just arrived this year at Sporting KC2, of course, from Vancouver. Former Whitecaps homegrown signing. He made 3 appearances for the first team in his time with the Whitecaps organization. More notably, last season, 18 appearances with 4 goals for Whitecaps 2. And he must have been absolutely raring to go in his return to his hometown. There he is, conceding just outside the center circle, but quick to help him recover was to Shantritz. And then the handball spotted by the referee, bouncing up off Miles Morgan's arm and back again with SKC2. Ibula with his first shot of today to add to his league leading total. 61st shot on the year. Tops in MLS Next Pro. Not shy of letting it fly. Really was such a cool finish from the 20-year-olds. Inside in possession. It's plenty of time for the man from Montreal, Alexandre. He makes his way off the left-hand side. Touch now for Alenis Vargas, dropping in. And now he'll try and sprint in behind the back line. Alexandre instead cutting in fields. Looking for the switch. It's on for SKC2. Brought down well by Ian James. Cross. And that's an inventive flick at the near post, but well held by Alexander Milosevic. Not much the teenager could do in goal for the opener. And he keeps the gloves here today for Vancouver Whitecaps FC2. It's on the back of his professional debut against LAFC2 last weekend. Did concede the 2 goals, but came up with a heroic moment in his professional debut. He saved the final penalty to earn the bonus points. 7-6 it finished in kicks from the mark. Not a bad way to begin life as a pro. It's SKC2 who have found the better of the opening. And again, there's space for Alexandre down the near side. He's won it back for SKC2, finding Danny Flores, shifting his feet for Habibullah. Tries to cut in between 2 defenders. That was some good backtracking defensively from Darko Ilic. Pressure not relieved though just yet for Vancouver. Vargas and a tussle with Josue Nakala. And the long range efforts tame, but the pressure coming from the visitors in these opening 8.5 minutes. Well held by Milosevic. 18-year-olds deputizing as Max Anker is still out with the broken finger he sustained 8 days ago. That led to the debut for Milosevic, and he keeps his name in the lineup here today. They're expecting Anker back in mid-October. Big loss for Vancouver, and not the only player they're missing through injury here this afternoon. One of their key contributors, Elliot Goldthorpe, still out with a shoulder injury he picked up against Colorado at the beginning of the month. Unsure on the timing of his return. Mr. Schuberg also out through injury here today. Little clip of the heel spotted by the far side assistant. Jivan Badwal holding things up and picking up the foul, relieving that little bit of pressure on Vancouver as they will try and build from the back. Dumped forward by Finn Linder, just checks up, which made it a tad more difficult for Chris Reindove, and now it's an opportunity for Vancouver. First time into the attack. Initial shot spilled. Second one slammed off the far post. Still alive for the Vancouver attack. That's a wonderful defensive header, and it's straight into the path of Habibullah, who can now sprint forward on a Sporting KC2 counter. Vargas is offside. He'll argue the pass should have come sooner. Habibullah will say that he should have held his run. The timing off on what seemed to be a promising counter. And how about the effort here from the captain, Jay Herdman. Just dipped in front of Ryan Shaway for the first effort. He did give up a bit of a rebound there, didn't he? The SKC2 goalkeeper. Herdman's so close to finding the equalizer. Did well to follow up his initial shot. And then from a tight angle, nearly able to play it in off the post. Warning shot there for SKC2. Really was the first foray, first meaningful attack for the home side here this afternoon. They have scored in all of their home games so far this season. Had a fantastic record at home as well. 6 wins, 2 losses, 2 ties in their 10 home matches coming into this afternoon. Cruz. It's Beto Avila, I beg your pardon, who had his eyes up along the far side. This cross picked up after it was cleared out. Alexandre continuing in the attacking half here for SKC2. Leo Cristiano. Flores. There's Cruz. Operating out wide rights, Flores. To Shantritz. Well worked from SKC2. Avila squaring across. Important intervention from Indicala. First corner of the match goes the way of the visitors. And it was patience in the build-up here from SKC2. Avila trying to fire across, looking for Vargas. Not sure Milosevic would have got there. Indicala doing well on the doorstep to clear. Now in the first corner, just over the head on the near post. It's out to the edge of the area. Blocked initially. Kick save on the rebounds. Milosevic. Hooked in again from SKC2. Another chance for Flores. The offside flag was raised. No, it's a foul spotted by the referee, Amir Ramic. Free kick for Vancouver. Couple of decent opportunities there in amongst the bodies for Sporting KC2. So invitingly for Denny Flores, the edge of the area. This controlled effort blocked by the crowd. And you saw Milosevic going to grounds to try and block it. Now the ball over the top for Vargas. Wonderful reaction from Milosevic. Another fantastic save from the teenager. Opportunity for Elenis Vargas to stretch his legs as he made the run in behind. It was a precise pass over the top into his path. Opening quarter of an hour, and SKC2 having the better of the chances in full value for their 1-0 lead thus far. Free kick just inside the attacking half for Vancouver. Herdman touching his shorts, might just catch Sporting KC2 slipping a little bit. Mihail Gerasimenov getting down the left-hand side for the first meaningful time. He's a playmaker at that wing-back possession on the left. Great strength from Dembo Sadie-Kant. Diagonal though, just outside the reach of Morgan. Now SKC2 will slow things down a bit. Perhaps just a little bit of a bitter taste in their mouth from the last time these two teams met back on August the 2nd in Lawrence, Kansas. Home away from home for SKC2, of course. Benny Feilhaber saying he felt that they played really well in that game. Took the lead through a Malun Gumbale penalty in the 40th minute. Then Vancouver struck back through their leading goal scorer, Floreal. Chateau. Feilhaber still aggrieved at the penalty decision from the referee on that day. And SKC2 will feel like they dropped a couple of points, hoping to get a bit of revenge here this afternoon. Of course, Ricardo Clark and Vancouver too will have loved the road performance, and they were missing quite a few key contributors in that match. The likes of Herdman, Badwal, Morgan, all on international duty. A couple players out injured. Feilhaber was quick to point out that today's matchup should be much different. And indeed, in terms of personnel, it is 5 changes for SKC2 from that draw in Kansas a month ago. Just short of a month ago, I should say. 6 changes for Vancouver from the team that got the bonus points on the road in that first matchup of 2024. Flores, and there's space to turn for Habibullah. Quickly closed it down, but he's spotted the pass for Tshantret. Flores left it short, trying to return. Good move from Herdman to elude the initial defender. He's got one to aim at. It's Morgan. There are enough players back to deal with the danger for SKC2. Tshantret. Good idea. Just a bit too straight, the ball. And allowed for Milosevic to range over. And now it's back again with Vancouver. Nikala. Sadikan. Down the line. Stayed on the line for a hot minute before Ian James could watch it over, and out for the SKC2 throw. Mentioned the fantastic home form for Vancouver this year. Sporting KC2, mixed bag away from home. 6 losses in their 11 previous road trips. Oh, this could be a problem. It's a lunge of a tackle, but the yellow card emerges from the referee's pocket. First booking of the afternoon shown to Chelo Tshantret. Painful one for Badwal. Not done any favors by the pass from Alexandre to Tshantret.
Yellow card caution. It says
It was a lunge.
KC2 number 52.
It was one of those that was studs showing on the ankle. Never know for which color the referee would have reached. Seemed like a borderline challenge. Happy enough for the yellow card. It's been a cleanly contested match thus far. And credits to Jivan Badwal. Didn't much argue the referee's decision on the pitch. Walking pace along the back line now for Chris Rindove and SKC2. Perhaps a bit of a wrinkle here from Benny Feilhaber. In possession, at least, looking like they're matching up. 3 at the back against Vancouver. Indeed, out of possession as well. Cruz looking more like a right wing back than a winger at the moment. Everybody except Milosevic camped inside the SKC2 half. Linder forced to retreat by Flores. He'll shift it over to Sadi Khan. It's Vargas applying the pressure this time rounds. Herdman, room to roam. Takes on two defenders and leaves it. It's a floated cross in, cleared off the line by Rindov. Left side of the Vancouver attack combining well there. It was the captain Herdman bringing it forward. He laid it off for Gary Semenkov. It's a good header as well. Down towards the back stick. Appeared as though Sheway might just have gotten there. But Captain Rindov wanted to be sure. Never want to leave a chance like that up to trust if you're able to hook it away yourself. And Rindov commanding inside his area there, the central defender. To Shantret. Cruz. Lovely diag into the corner. Will be chased down by Alexandre. Quick into the area. Vargas didn't catch his shot. He snapped at it. Honduran. Swift into the attack though from the visitors. And it was a fabulous cross-field pass from Cruz, switching the point of the attack, and that led to that vast amount of space for Vargas inside the area. Don't think Ricardo Clark and the technical staff for Whitecaps 2 will be too pleased with just how easily they were cut apart. Well, then flicked on by Morgan as Nicolas Floreal Chateau gives chase. Cruz controlled into the center circle for Habibullah. As you can see, it's Cristiano left, Rindov central, 16-year-old Ian James as the three center backs. Habibullah, Cruz. Blocked off his toes by Gary Semenkov. Back again down the right-hand side for Sebastian Cruz. SKC2 coming into the weekend 4 points behind 8th with 6 games remaining. Flores. Cruz, one-on-one. Finds room for the cross. Well held. Secure hands at the near post from Milosevic. Illich asking a lot, and it's picked off. Right to Shantret. Vargas, heavy touch, cut back to him, but it was offside from Cruz. Poor touch there from Alenis Vargas. SKC2 might just feel that their lead should be even more than the single goal. A couple of decent chances carved out by Vancouver, but plenty of those half chances for Sporting thus far. Loose touch from the 20-year-old Vargas, killing off that most recent opportunity for the visitors. It was fascinating to see the number 20 in the starting 11 for SKC2 here this afternoon. Now then, Illich reading the game better than anyone. Was he fouled? He was. It'll be a free kick and a promising position for Whitecaps to burst down the right from Darko Ilic. He was quicker to the loose ball. He read the bounce rather intuitively there. It's a tricky one now for Ryan Sheway and his defenders to deal with. The goalkeeper hugging his left post as he gets the two in the wall set up. Gerasimenkov over from the left side as he'll try and whip this in with pace. Hurd in dark blue at the penalty spot might just crash in. Gerasimenkov curling it in. Good hand to it from Sheway. And enough distance on the touch from the goalkeeper as it trickles over the line for a throw. Defenders will love that. Goalkeeper commanding his area. Back into the lineup here today, Ryan Sheway, his 13th start of the year. That's the most for any SKC2 goalkeeper. And then launched in from the throw by Morgan. Cruz first to the loose ball. There's shouts for handball. It's deflected and well held. Sheway catching clean after the ricochet. Parts of a good contingent of loanees from the first team here today. Four players on loan in the starting 11 for SKC2. That is a killer pass into Habibullah. It ricochets kindly for Vargas. Milosevic, so swift off his line. Another half chance created by Sporting. Now it's Linder bursting through a couple challenges himself. Vancouver with L'Oreal Chateau. Just wide.
Fans, your attention, please. Due to the high temperatures at today's match, for the
and that'll be the last act before a hydration break here at Swangard Stadium. Always sliding wide. You see he's got three teammates high up the pitch in support. A couple left a bit frustrated as Nicolas Floria Chateau took it on himself. Sheway able to watch it the whole way as it just rolled beyond his left-hand posts. First real sighter for the team leading goal scorer for Vancouver this year, Nicolas L'Oreal Chateau. And a bit uncharacteristic to see it off the mark. He's one of the best in the league at getting his shots on target. So an opportunity now for the former World Cup teammates in opposite dugouts to have a chat with their respective teams. Benny Feilhaber and Ricardo Clark, of course, taking the trip to South Africa to rep the Stars and Stripes together back in 2010. They are both rather demonstrative in their respective team talks. Ike Opara also having a separate one, the assistants for the visitors. It's 1-0 for Sporting KC2 here as we just passed the half-hour mark for this hydration break. Fired into the lead early on. The former Vancouver Whitecaps man, Cameron Habibullah, in the 4th minute for his 9th goal of the campaign. That breaks a tie atop the team chart. half-hour mark, we can take a quick gander at the stats. 7 shots for the visitors, 5 for Vancouver, 4 on target though for Sporting, with 2 on target for Whitecaps 2 thus far. Passing accuracy pretty good for each team, 83% nearly for the home side, nearly 89% accurate thus far for Sporting KC 2. Just the 1 yellow card, that's to Chantre for the visitors. That was clipped off the edge, the very edge of the boot there, right off the toe. Took all the power out of the long-range attempt. Making for an easy gather for Shea. Just 1 corner to this point in the match as well. That was for Sporting. To Chantrit. Slide it to his midfield partner Flores. Cruz again finding the switch beautifully for Alexandre. That's a stuck tackle by Ilic. Not having any of Alexandre's attempt on the dribble. Vargas. Flores. Avila. And now the Cruz. Low cross. That's another good gather from Milosevic. You saw Beto Avila was bearing down on goal. Had he not been able to secure that the first time of asking, might have been there for an attempt out of the rebounds. Avila. And he's done well, the 18-year-old Milosevic. Several of those attempts so far here today. Habibullah through traffic but couldn't slip it into Vargas. Turn Mehri. Now it falls to Herdman. Check of the shoulder as he carries forward. Linder forced back to Nakala. And patience once again for Vancouver. Heavy touch from Mehri. Possession gifted to Sporting KC 2. Alexandre finding space to operate. Chantret and Flores seeing a lot of the ball in this first half, but Flores caught on it by Morgan, who goes from distance. You can't win the lottery if you don't buy a ticket. Did so well, Morgan, to pinch it off Flores, and then had his eyes up, spotted the goalkeeper off his line. It's going to take something remarkable, of course, to score from that range. And you have to admire the ambition after such a fantastic play in the center circle. Perhaps, though, a counterattack could have been on. Windolf. James. And it's over the top of Avila, picked up by Cruz. He's in behind. Cruz goes to ground. Penalty for Sporting KC2. A reach to the back pocket. And it's a sending off for Dembo Sadikan. Up a goal, now up a man with a chance to double their lead. Sporting Kansas City 2. It's fantastic work from Sebastian Cruz. The back line cutouts by that initial ball over the top. It appeared to be directed towards Avila, but as it flew over the head of the 99, Cruz was the only one who correctly read the flight of the ball. He snuck in behind, and with the denial of a goal-scoring opportunity, Ramic reaches to the back pockets. Sadikan sent off. Saw there was a conversation on the penalty spot as to who would step up and take the responsibility. Vargas wanted it, but it's Beto Avila who will be the one. Sporting in regulation this year, just 3 for 6 from the penalty spot. It's the first attempt for Avila in 2024 in regulation. He's trying to tie. Habibullah with 9 goals. Short run up. Save! Alexander Milosevic continues his fantastic beginning to life as a professional.
Whitecaps FC2, number 51, Dembo Sadikan.
Avila denied. And it's still just the 1 goal deficit for Vancouver. Not the best penalty from Beto Avila. At a very kind height for a goalkeeper. And not near either of the corners. As this is curled in invitingly. Big chance. Wow. Morgan thought he had more time than he did. That was a sensational pass, curled back across the grain, really. It looked as though Vancouver were retreating. Was it Malik Mehri, the man who curled it in with his left? Couldn't quite see if that was the 49 or if it was his teammate Ilic. And you saw Morgan drop his head as he had Herdman immediately next to him, an opportunity to play a pass or get a shot away. Instead, he took a touch, and that allowed for the retreating tackle. Not sure they'll get a better chance than that, the 10 men of Vancouver. And after the heroics in goal, that could have turned the match around. Now it's taken away from the goalkeeper by Ndakala. It'll be another Sporting KC2 corner. Cruz taking his time. For one hand goes in the sky. It's an outswinger all the way through to Flores. Resets here for SKC2. Cristiano, the last man back to Shantrit. We'll check back as Vancouver are forced to dig in a bit here from their defensive corner. Vargas. Back to Flores. To Shantrit. How well can SKC2 use the man advantage? To Shantrit. To Cruz. Now they try and pull apart the 10 men of Vancouver. To Shantrit. Cristiano. To the final 5 minutes. One more time at the end of the first half. SKC2 up a goal, up a man as well. Sending off of Dembo Sadikan. The ensuing penalty saved by Alexander Milosevic. Flores. Avila. To Shantrit on the loose ball. Cruz into the area looking for Habibullah. Blocked by Ndakala. Gerasimenkov was in there as well. Danger not over just yet. It's Habibullah. The Shantrit shot was blocked. All hands on deck defensively for the Whitecaps. They closed the gate well there. Did in the Kala. Gary Semenkov. Shantrit. Flores. Tried to slice through the center, did Flores there, but it was intercepted by Mehri. Sheway communicating well with his back line. And it's easily regained by Sporting KC2. So much room there for Cruz on the right. Picked up by Shantrit. Now it's Avila in behind. Avila for Vargas. Just clipped his hair, it's on its way. Alexandre recovers. Cristiano. High advance to Shantrit. Little clip over the top. Cruz plucks it out of the sky. Now he'll lift it back for Shantrit. First time ball. Vancouver looking for the flag. Not sure it would have been raised. Clever idea there from Chelo to Shantrit to try and play it first time over the top for Elenis Vargas. That pass was behind Habibullah. Herdman. Turning from the pressure. And now down the line, Herdman into Ilic. Being told there will be an additional 2 minutes added on at the end of the first half. We're into the final 2 minutes of normal time here in Burnaby. Ilic. In the Kala. Ambitious as he tried to fire it towards Florial Chateau. Gary Semenkov. Appears as though they've shifted to a back four after one of their three center backs was sent off. Now then, well, it appeared a loose back pass, but the reason, according to the referee, was a foul. Gary Semenkov, the guilty party, as he was late on Cruz. Sporting KC2 won't be in a hurry to get things restarted from here on in. Final minute before stoppage time ahead of the break. Alexandre. Shantrit. Flores. Those two really have controlled the pace of today's match thus far. Good connection and partnership. And now down the right, Cruz emerging. He's been a heavy participant. Alexandre's first time effort was off balance and off target. Herdman being told not to foul by the bench. He did not heed those instructions. He is called for the foul. A little tug of the arm as the 2 minutes go up on the board of the fourth official, Mo Moseni, into stoppage time at the end of the first half here in British Columbia. Flores, Avila. Cruz, watched by Gary Semenkov. Quickly in for Avila. He tries to turn the corner. He goes down, and the referee points the other way. Yellow card shown to Beto Avila. Somewhat of a first half to forget for the 99. Missed penalty. And not sure if that was for simulation or if it was for the handball, as he reached out and really tried to make the referee's decision for him. And he joins Chelo to Shantret on a yellow card for the visitors as we approach halftime. No yellows shown to Vancouver thus far. But unfortunately for the hosts, there was a card of a different color, the red, to Dembo Sadikan. Alexandre bringing it forward. He slips Vargas in behind. That was an awkward one for Ilic. Someone half-hearted the appeals for handball from Sporting. So slammed in onto Darko Ilic by a teammate. Close range. To Shantret. James, Cruz. Sporting in control to close out the first half here at Swangard Stadium. In the lead as well, thanks to the returning Cameron Habibullah, the former Whitecaps man, firing Sporting in front in the 4th minute after an error at the back. There was drama late on in the half as well, as Dembo Sadikan was shown a straight red. Ensuing penalty from Beto Avila, saved by Alexander Milosevic to keep it at just the 1-goal margin. But a difficult task ahead of the home side. Down a man, down a goal as we head to halftime here in British Columbia. It's halftime between Vancouver Whitecaps FC 2 and Sporting Kansas City 2. We'll have highlights and first half stats coming up. The score, Vancouver 0, Sporting 1. But first, Michelle Montaigne sits down with U.S. soccer legend Kobe Jones.
What's up, guys? I am beyond thrilled and honored to be sitting down today with the all-time leader in caps for the U.S. men's national team, U.S. Soccer Hall of Famer, all-around amazing human being, Kobe Jones. Kobe, thank you so much for sitting down with us.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Here, actually close to-ish, your hometown. We're going to start by reminding everyone, grew up here, played high school at Thousand Oaks, have really been an integral part of bringing soccer to your hometown of Ventura County. When you think about the fact that you now have a professional team in really your backyard, how does that sound?
Well, fantastic, number one. I have to correct a little thing. I went to high school in Westlake. Because Westlake and Thousand Oaks are rivals. So, you know, we'll kill each other. So
my gosh. Okay.
But, you know, it's all so close. You know, Westlake, Thousand Oaks, Newberry Park, you know, that Conejo Valley area, that all in Ventura, you know, is so much a part of my youth, you know, my youth landscape and growing up. So to bring a professional team to my hometown, you know, that area where everyone can participate, to actually give kids the opportunity to play the sport. Because one thing I always find is it's difficult to play this game, you know, at a youth age. And when you hear it from the kids, you hear it from the parents, you have to drive so far, but now to actually bring an opportunity for the kids to see professional soccer right there, it's close by, you know, I couldn't ask for anything else.
As you think back to those days of playing youth soccer and growing up here, how would you describe that experience?
It was wonderful. You know, I gotta admit it, I had a great time. I loved this sport, you know, that's what kept me going. Look, I wasn't always, you know, a lot of people would think from the history, oh, you must have been the best player on your team and all that stuff. No, that wasn't me. I just played hard. I loved playing the game. That's what drew me back all the time. That's what kept me going, you know, with all the obstacles and various things that were in the way. Why? Because I loved the game, you know, so much. And to play it in Ventura County, that Westlake Village, Thousand Oaks, that whole area, I look back now and just go like, wow, those were some really surreal moments in time. It's not the same anymore. You know, one of the big things I gotta say, and I'll try to keep this short, is just how it all started, in the fact that you know, I was driving by a park and saw my cousin, and my parents just pulled over and asked the coach, can he play? And the coach said, yes, tossed a jersey, and then I'm out there kicking the ball around, and that's how it started. That to me is it's so different than how it is now.
Yeah.
You know, so
Yeah.
that just is a testament to just the beauty and just the rawness and the originality of the game. And if we can get anywhere like that in the future, you know, oh, I'd be happy.
What was your role in bringing this professional club to Ventura County?
That's always interesting when people ask that. There was a variety of different things that I've done. You can't pin it to really any one thing. I would say, you know, obviously Westside Thousand Oaks being my hometown, me being a part of it was significant for, I guess however you want to put it, completing the situation of bringing VCFC there, because you know you want to have kind of like for MLS, it's about having that legacy type of situation. You know, so for me it was about, yes, being a part of it, helping to be like a quote unquote like face of it, but also to be active within it. You know, I don't want to be just like, okay, yeah, you can use my name and go ahead. No,
Yeah.
I want to be there because I want to make sure that it's the right way. If I'm going to be a part of it, I want to make sure that we are affecting the right people, giving the opportunities to the right people. It's like going home, right? If you go home, you don't want to just like leave it behind and just go, oh yeah, you take care of it.
Yeah.
No, if this is like my home, I want to be a big part of it. So I'm involved in a lot of various things within the club.
When you watch the games as they are now, you kind of mentioned the growth of the sport, but watching them, being an involved part of one of these clubs in MLS Next Pro, what does that say about the growth of the sport in this country?
I think this is a very significant part of the growth of soccer in the United States. We have seen it grow exponentially over the years. I've seen it grow exponentially from the 90s into the early 2000s, and there's always these seminal moments, you know, be it the 94 World Cup, you know, the 99ers for the women, all these various points. But then you also have to have a base that continues that growth. And I think MLS Next Pro is one of those stepping stones that's going to allow a base where no matter what happens at the highest level, success, failure, hopefully not failure, but you continue to grow no matter what. And if we are helping young players to have that opportunity to play day in, day out at a high competitive level, that's only going to help the game within the United States.
All right, I do want to take a little bit of time to talk about your career because it has been one of the pillars in growing the game here in this country. We mentioned all the success with the U.S. men's national team. Of course, we also have to mention domestically all the success with LA Galaxy. When you look back on your career, what stands out to you now?
Championships.
Spoken like a true player.
No, look, that's what you're playing this for, right?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm old school. I play to win. You know, I'm not out there just to have fun. And if you talk to some of my old teammates, you know, one of the things they will say that, yeah, I like to have a good time, but I would guarantee they'd say I was very competitive. You know, not just on the field, but it could be anything from, you know, the water bottle in the locker room, toss it up to see who's going to get it first. You know, those are things that we did, and you want to win, you want to be competitive. But outside of that, the natural, which I hope for every, you know, competitive athlete, the natural is to win championships. I look back and other moments that stand out. It's really not so much, you know, the games themselves. It's the locker room. Those are the moments. It's being with the guys, you know, on the road. Those are things that have become more prominent, you know, in my life as I've gotten older, because I realized, you know, you don't get that in anything, you know, anymore. You don't get the locker room experience like that, no matter what you're doing. So it's almost like you're trying to find a way to find that again some way, somehow, but you can't. So yeah, that's one of the things that really started standing out as well, is those locker room moments and good times with the guys. You know, that's why we try to get together and bond. You know, again, reunions everywhere. You know?
Kobe, as we wrap up, just want to ask: are there any special projects in the world of Kobe Jones going on that you want to share or talk about?
Well, I think, yeah. Well, other than BC,
the one right there.
other than this one right now, this is a pretty big project going on right now. You know, maybe we'll have to meet again because I know there are some things that are in the works that I would like to let everybody know about. So hopefully you'll invite me back, you know, at some point.
A perfect tease to leave you wanting more. I appreciate the time, Kobe.
Thanks for having me.
That does it for this episode, a very special episode with a very special guest for MLS Next Pro.
Halftime here at Swangard Stadium in sunny Burnaby, British Columbia. It's the visitors, Sporting KC2, on top by a 1-0 over Vancouver Whitecaps FC2. Let's take a look at the schedule around MLS Next Pro on this match day 25 weekend. Wrapping up with a fantastic Sunday of action. 8 games in a full slate across the league coming up tomorrow. Now we'll have a little chat with Chattanooga goalkeeper Jean-Antoine.
Action.
What's up, guys? Today we're sitting down with Chattanooga FC goalkeeper Jean-Antoine. Jean, thank you for teaching us how to say your name and for sitting down with us.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
Jean, with having played in several leagues and in several parts of the world even, what is your impression of MLS Next Pro now that you're over halfway through this first season in this league?
My first impression of the league, it's not easy at first. When we first find out we're coming to MLS Next, it's like in my head we're gonna play against academy kids. That should be a bit easier, but they're more talented and they run a lot.
They certainly do that. You also got to partake in an experience that not many people get to. You got to be a part of Goalie Wars, the second edition, MLS Next Pro wise. What would you describe that Goalie Wars experience like now that you've had some time to reflect on the entire week there?
Wow, what can I say? It's like it was amazing. I was grateful to be a part of it and try to represent my team the best way that I can, which I did. I had a lot of fun, and you guys were so amazing. Everybody was so friendly, and it was a great experience.
I know you didn't get to walk away with the belt, but what was your favorite part of the whole experience?
My favorite experience is when before we first started to play against Chito, the first game. I usually don't get nervous. It's like all the camera was on me, so I was like freaking out. I even kneeled down a little bit, and I was like, oh my God, this is happening. And then even before, you know how the countdown started happening, 1, 2, 3. I struck the ball at like 2, and the ref was like, I'm like, I'm so sorry.
That's hilarious. But we know you don't get nervous when you're in the goal during regular matches. How would you describe your role on this team, especially considering what you said, right? There's a lot of academy guys, there's a lot of younger players. How do you feel like you kind of lead this group?
My role in this team is trying to motivate the guys, even when things are going well, even when they're not going well. So I have to like be that dad figure on the field, trying to help them when things are going bad. It's my job to like help them fix things. And when it's going right, I have to make sure we keep it going right at the same time.
As a player, what does success look like to you this year?
Success is bringing the championship here to Chattanooga, and that's the only way we're gonna get the success that we need, because we started the season really well, and we had a deeper form in the middle of the season. But right now we're trying to finish the season on a high note and then get in the playoff. Hopefully we could make a good push
I know there's a lot of people hoping that that's what you guys are able to accomplish this year. Being from, even another country, how would you describe what the support of this Chattanooga XT Supporters Club means to you in the city?
It's everything. Like wherever you go in the city, like you meet one or two person that know about the team. They want to talk to you about the team. Like even in our away games, our fans, they travel like so far to support us. So it's amazing. So we're trying to do everything we can to bring them back some joy and excitement and put the city on the map.
Well, I know that if you guys make the playoffs, they will certainly be on the road for that as well. Jean, thank you so much for the time and best of luck the rest of the season.
Thank you so much. It's always a pleasure talking to you.
The pleasure is always ours. That does it for this episode of Players Profile with Jean Antoine.
Welcome back in. It's 1-0 at the break for Sporting Kansas City 2 in Vancouver. Let's take a look at the first half highlights. It was a perfect start for the visitors and a heroic homecoming for Cameron Habibullah, the former Vancouver man in his hometown, pouncing on the mistake. And in the 4th minute, it was his 9th goal of the season that gave the visitors the lead. Best chance of the first half for Vancouver was shortly thereafter. You saw Jay Herdman, a couple of shots with the second careening off the goalkeeper's right-hand post. Decent header from Miles Morgan was cut off the line, and then a huge moment in the match. Last man, Dembo Sadikat, bringing down Sebastian Cruz. Denial of a goal-scoring opportunity. Penalty and a red card as Sadikan was sent off. Alexander Milosevic, the 18-year-old, just his 2nd game as a pro, stepped up and denied Beto Avila. As we will now begin the second half. They've, of course, switched ends here at Swangard Stadium. And it's the visitors, Sporting Kansas City 2, who starts with possession in the lead and up a man to begin this second half of play.
And in the game, number 88, Shane Donovan.
Herdman winning it as he tried to stride forward into the attack. Too many there in Sporting Blue. And it's the goal scorer, Habibullah, who can turn. He finds Avila. It's Vargas, one-on-one with the goalkeeper. Kick save. Milosevic. An incredible performance today from the teenager. It's beautifully timed. The slip pass through from Avila to Vargas. And as he took his time to measure up the strike, he got so much power behind it. But full credits to the 18-year-old Alexander Milosevic. Stuck out that right boot and was strong enough to keep out the efforts from Vargas. First corner of the second half goes the way of the visitors. Linder with his head to it. And now it's the first touch of the match for one of 2 substitutions in the second half. One made by either manager. That was Shane Donovan on for Sporting Kansas City 2. Change made by Ricardo Clark, and Vancouver saw Liam McKenzie on to replace Miles Morgan. Substitution for Sporting was Shane Donovan on. Danny Flores off, one of the 4 loanees in the starting 11 today for the visitors. Mentioned in the first half that Benny Feilhaber had spoken to me this week about their first meeting of the year at the beginning of August and how he felt today would be much different, certainly in terms of personnel for Vancouver. Offside flag up against Cruz on the near side. Well, conversely, Ricardo Clark pointed out that the first team for Sporting has the weekend off, and he said that they'll be ready for Perhaps some surprises in the lineup. That was just ahead of the outstretched boot of Avila there. And indeed, Ricardo Clark astute in his premonition as the likes of Vargas, Shewe, perhaps Flores amongst the surprise inclusions for the visitors here today. Certainly Alenis Vargas would draw on the eye when those starting lineups were announced. Much different as Vancouver have a short bench here today. More on that in a moment as Herdman was striding rather confidently into the attack there, the captain. Finally, Sporting able to wrangle him away. Vancouver in MLS action tonight in Austin. They should be kicking off in just about 20 minutes time. Chateau by himself. Excellent defending from Cristiano. How about the pickouts? Habibullah all by himself. Habibullah taking it on himself! Habibullah at the double! It's a brilliant goal from outside the area. It's a brace for the Vancouver returning man. 2 goals against his former club. It's Vancouver 0, Sporting KC 2. Fantastic finish from Habibullah. It all began with that lovely threaded pass. Right side of the defense. Must have cut out 4 or 5 in dark blue.
Sporting KC 2 goals scored in the 50th minute.
And the challenge for Vancouver gets that much more difficult now. Reduced to 10 men after the sending off of Dembo Sadikan. Despite the goalkeeper's heroics on the penalty. Now just a few minutes into the second half. The lead is indeed doubled. And it's a hat trick alert for the only man in the league thus far with 2 of them this season. Donovan in the center of the park. Vargas applying the pressure as it's away by Linder. Cruz, plenty of time and space for Deschantres. Should be the case for most of those in Sporting Blue the rest of the way. For Vancouver, it's the 3rd red card of the season, unfortunately. For the 20-year-old Dembo Sadikan, it's his 2nd sending off. Unfortunately for Vancouver fans, the other 2 saw them end in defeat as well. The 2 games in which they had a player sent off. Both came at home. They did show some fight back in the last instance. Will they have that here today? Herdman over to Florial Chateau. Gerasimenkov. Curling cross, it's a beauty! Headed high by Ilic. What a ball in there. As the former wingbacks, perhaps occupying different roles after the sending off, combine. And that's a fantastic chance carved out by Mikhail Gerasimenkov. Sumptuous curling ball in behind the back line. Ilic with the time to attack it. Long way to run onto it and watch it, and he couldn't guide his header on frame. Would have been a difficult one for Shea Way to deal with had he been able to do so. Vancouver showing that they're not going down without a fight. Mentioned the last game in which they had someone sent off. That was Sadie Khan. Game a few weeks ago here at home against Colorado. They were down 2-0 when he was sent off, but they did pull one back late on. Wound up losing by 2-1. Previously, they saw Ethan Goldthorpe sent off in a 4-1 home defeat against Tacoma in mid-July. Up against it here. Not even 10 minutes gone into the second half. Flag is up against Cruz. Who disagrees? Backline held well enough there for Vancouver. Interesting to see the changes at the break. A couple of academy products on for either side. Kenzie on for his 15th appearance of the year, 7 now from the bench. 17-year-old Shane Donovan did start in the last match a couple of weeks ago. He's on for just his 6th appearance of the year. Only his 2nd off the bench for Sporting. Clever move there in midfield from Mehri. Support on the right-hand side. Florian Chateau is waiting for the service. Never did arrive. Herdman was trying to pick out the front man. That's loose, given away. Mehri searching for space to get the shot off, but Donovan did well just to prevent that from happening. The back heel's useful. Ilic to the byline. That's where he's watched by Cristiano. Herdman couldn't get through Donovan. It's a fantastic challenge. Lucky ricochet off Habibullah. Avila dances through 2 defenders, and there's numbers forward here for Sporting. Alexandre into the area. Alexandre, step over. Easy save on the near post for Milosevic. Save count continues to rise, though. As there's a man down behind the play. Jivan Singh Badwal picking himself up from the grass. And this will allow for another substitution. Antoine Couplands will check in for Darko Ilic and Malcolm Simmons, who started the last match. The only player dropped from the starting 11 for today by Ricardo Clark enters in the second half.
Malcolm Simmons.
Simmons is on. It was initially supposed to be for Malik Mehri, but I think that
for Whitecaps FC
just
number 46, Darko
recently occurred injury to Jivan Badwal has changed the mind of Ricardo Clark, and instead Simmons will enter for him. So 3 changes now utilized by the home side. Mentions that they're a short bench, only 6 on the bench today for Vancouver. Those key injuries that I talked about in the first half, especially Anchor and Goldthorpe. But also, the first team is in action tonight, and Whitecaps 2 will be missing Cyprian Cachuele here today, called up for the short-term loan to the first team in their trip to Austin. And kickoff in just about 10 minutes time in MLS action. They might be without his services for the stretch run, Vancouver. Wonderful news this week for the 19-year-olds, as it was announced he's been called up for the first team of Tanzania AFCON qualifiers coming at the beginning of September. He'll head straight from Austin, most likely, as he's looking to make his senior debut for the Tanzanian national side. Games against Ethiopia and Guinea. Possibilities for him to get his first cap. And that's a feather in the cap for Vancouver to see their talented teenager getting called up for AFCON qualifiers, but they will be, of course, missing him here today. It's a full bench for the visitors, and they will use that full bench here.
And in the game, number 42, Carson Klein.
Carson Klein on for Cello Teshantret.
KC2 leaving the game, number 90, Meiji Alexandre. And in the game, number 35,
Meiji
Jonathan
Alexandre
Robinson.
will be withdrawn for Jonathan Robinson. Teshantret was one of those on a yellow card for Sporting. Love to see his passing stats after this hour of action in Vancouver. Heavily involved in the center of the park. And now, what can the subs do for either side to either continue the momentum as Sporting are concerned or change it for Vancouver and Ricardo Clark? Well, that looked a foul. Vargas certainly thought it was, so did the Sporting bench. Duran going to ground and peering over his shoulder at the near side assistant. The flag never came. Vancouver now going up the other end. Herdman shoving the back, two hands. An easy one for the referee to spot there. Carson Klein just into the fray, into the fouls. 11th appearance of the season for Robinson. Klein in for the very first time off the bench. All 6 of his appearances have been from the start so far, so a bit of a different role here today for Klein. And a different system as well for Sporting KC2. Wondered at halftime with the man advantage if they might just shift the strategy a bit, but with the clean sheet holding on to the back 3 and Klein in at right wing back. Here he is right on cue. Sorry, that right back in that home defeat to Austin 13 days ago. It was the first home defeat for Sporting since May. Had a 5-match unbeaten run ended by Austin in that last home match. And as mentioned, today is the first of a 3-game road trip. Fascinating fixture list remaining for Sporting. 3 road games followed by 3 at home to finish up the 2024 regular season. And a bit of a mixed bag as well in terms of the teams they will face. Klein brought down by Nakala. Free kick for Sporting just inside their own half. Nakala racing from the scene of the crime, but the referee first wants a little chat. And he wants more than that. First yellow card shown to Vancouver, and it's to Joshua Nakala. Just talking about that upcoming schedule for Sporting as they try and usurp a few teams ahead of them in the standings, somehow make their way into the
Whitecaps
layoffs.
yellow card assessed to number 95, Josh Layton.
They travel to LAFC 2 a week from tomorrow. Vargas in behind. Vargas unselfish. And it's 3 for SKC2. Jonathan Robinson there to apply the finishing touch, and just look what it means to him. A simple tap in at the back stick after the unselfish work and the strength from Elenis Vargas. And for Jonathan Robinson, it's his first goal. He makes it Vancouver 0. Sporting KC 2, 3. 3 points. Looking like they will be heading back to Kansas City. Under a half an hour remaining for the 10 men of Vancouver to try and pull off a miraculous fight back now.
Sporting KC2 goal scored in the 63rd minute by number 35, Jonathan Robinson.
A walking pace for the team in command of the afternoon. Vancouver looking a bit battered now as they reduced to 10 before the break. Just wonder about that chance early on, right after the penalty was saved in the first half. Could have immediately responded and made it 1-1. Morgan was just a little slow to react when he was found inside the area. But since halftime, Sporting have used the man advantage well. That'll be a yellow card for Klein. Free kick.
Yellow card caution assessed to Sporting Kansas City
for the home side. Mikhail Garisemenkov. Seen his cultured left boots play in a fabulous ball early on in this half. They will send bodies forward, Vancouver. Maybe shorts. But risking it a bit here to try and get back in the match. 6 waiting on the edge of the area in the dark Vancouver blue. Garisemenkov teasing outswinger. Linder won the initial header. It's still in the attack. Clipped up towards the back stick by Mehri. McKenzie just a bit late reacting and arriving. It's a little heavy. That flowed across from Mehri regardless. There's a decent look from the offensive-minded set piece. Love to hear the fans here at Swangard Stadium trying their best to lift the spirits of the 10 men of the home side. Habibullah brought down. It's legally so, according to the referee. Simmons finding Mehri in space. Quickly, he continues it on. L'Oreal Chateau trying to dance in onto that left foot. That's where he wants it. Sporting had the scouting report. Habibullah now tracked by Simmons. Somehow manages to escape with chalk on his boots. The late challenge seen as a yellow card worthy one by the referee, Antoine Coupland. Latest into the referee's
Yellow card
pocket.
caution assessed to Whitecaps
Second player with the yellow
number 43
for Vancouver.
Antoine Coupland.
Talking about that Sporting KC2 schedule. The trip to LAFC 2 next Sunday. Of course, LA currently in the playoff positions. Then it's a trip to Colorado, who are sitting second bottom in the West. For the final 3 games for Sporting Kansas City 2. Will all be at home. They'll all be at Children's Mercy Victory Field as well. Homestand begins with last place Minnesota United before first place North Texas, and then another game against LAFC 2. So a couple of opponents down near the bottom of the Western standings, but a couple up near the top remaining for Sporting as they try and race from 11th into the top 8. As it stands, this win would take them, at least for the time being, ahead of Austin into 10th. Vancouver in the midst of this late season slip. And they'll be worried about the teams just behind them. Plenty of room now for Klein. He pulls it back. And Vargas hit it well. Crowd of bodies there to prevent it from arriving at Milosevic and his goal. Excellent pass from the byline. Carson Klein. Cruz now to the near side. As Sporting still send numbers forward. Cruz, outswinger, hands to it from the goalkeeper. Cleared off the line on the second attempt. A couple of Sporting players wondering if it might have been via the hand. Not as far as the referee was concerned. Another outswinger from Cruz. Linder this time, first to it. Avila keeps it alive. Vargas. Robinson smashing it into the block. Bit of a tentative effort there.
Cavs fans, your attention,
As Donovan
please.
sent
Due
it
to
wide
high temperatures at
on
today's match,
the
for
rebounds.
the safety of the players, the referee has indicated that a cooling break will commence.
70 minutes gone here in Burnaby, and it's another cooling break in British Columbia. Sporting Kansas City 2 in full control on the road, up 3-0, and up a man as they have been since the first half. The sending off of Dembo Sadikan, making it a difficult task for Vancouver, who were already trailing. It was Cameron Habibullah who capitalized on an early Vancouver mistake at the back. 4th minutes, the first goal for the visitors. That's really sent Sporting Kansas City on their way thus far. Sending off for Sadikan came
Fourth substitution.
9 minutes
for
before the
Sporting
break.
Kansas City, leaving the game at number 99, Roberto Avila.
As
Enter the game at number 98.
Benny
Number
Feilhaber
38,
will go to his
Malun
bench
Gumbale.
once more. Malun Gumbale checking on to replace Beto Avila. Just talking about just the red card in the first half. Avila was the man who stepped up with the responsibility to the spot and was denied with this penalty saved by Alexander Milosevic. It was 1-0 at halftime. But into the second half, Habibulah's second, just 5 minutes into the second half. It arrived a minute later than his first did in the first. And Robinson, right around 10 minutes ago, added the third, which is what has us arrived at this 3-0 scoreline heading towards the final quarter of an hour. Gumbale on. Avila on a yellow card to the bench. Crossing towards Vargas, and boy, did he make up the ground in a hurry. Nakala had to go to ground quickly to slide it clear. First touch for Gumbale. He scored from the penalty spot in the corresponding fixture earlier on in August, the 1-1 draw, with the bonus points going to Vancouver. Gumbale did start against Austin 13 days ago as well, on for his 22nd appearance. Most of those have been from the start this year. Starts, leads the team for Gumbale, and on for just his second appearance off the bench, so much like Klein. Somewhat of a different situation and scenario for Gumbale to come into here today. And now he does break the tie for the most appearances on the year with Ethan Bryant, who could keep up with him if he is the last player brought off the bench by Feilhaber this afternoon. We're into the final quarter of an hour now. Vancouver down a man and down 3. Herdman. Coupland for the tricky turn on Habibullah. Couldn't pull it off, but it did come off the sporting man last. In from the throw. Here come Vancouver once more. Linder in for Malcolm Simmons. Second on the team in minutes this year, Simmons. Tied atop the appearance mark for Vancouver, much like Gumbale. So it was a bit surprising to see each of them on the bench to start today. Cruz thought he could get around, but he was unable to. Long range. Well watched by Shea Way, an easy catch for the Sporting KC goalkeeper. McKenzie going for that long-range curler. Was a hallmark week for the first teams of both of these clubs. Each of them through to their respective cup final. Hold on now for Milosevic. Put under pressure, and as a result, Gerasimenkov brings Vargas down. It'll be a yellow card, and he knew what was coming. And those learning moments for the teenager Milosevic, just his second game as a professional, was charged down rather quickly by Jonathan Robinson, quicker than perhaps he anticipated. Look at the word shared between Herdman and Habibullah.
Substitution for Sporting Kansas City 2, leading the game, number 47.
Former teammates, of course. And that was because it's Habibullah's number up on the board. It won't be a third hat trick of the year, but a brace and a difference made here this afternoon by the former Vancouver Whitecaps man. Goals number 9 and 10 to lead Sporting KC2 this year. First 2 goals of the afternoon. And that'll be the 5th and final substitution from the visitors. Cruz stands over the dead ball for Sporting. Everyone made the run to the near post. The cross went to the far. It might wind up a good thing on the second attempts. Second phase, though, comes to nothing. Robinson's cross a bit short. He'll get another opportunity to provide service from the left. Robinson, one-on-one. Step over into the area. Robinson's low cross. Denied by Ndakala. Vancouver come cautiously forward. The substitution didn't happen in time. And thus, it's 10 on 10 for the moment.
End of the game for Sporting Kansas City 2, number 76, Johan Ortiz.
And now he will enter the fray. Johan Ortiz, 17-year-olds. Came on at halftime against Austin. Academy Products, the man to replace Habibullah for Sporting. Herdman tries to slip in behind.
Assessed to Whitecaps FC2, number 54, Mihal Gerasimnikov.
Fantastic challenge from the 16-year-old Ian James. Just the 3rd start of the year. Called into action to join the back 3. He timed that tackle to perfection inside his own area. It's the first corner of the match for Vancouver. These are the opportunities where they certainly miss Elliot Goldthorpe. Stung in towards the near post. Strong goalkeeping. Sheway gets a good punch onto it. Back in from Gary Semenkov. That was a wild flying attempt at the overhead. Vargas has it taken away by Simmons. Klein now will settle things down. Donovan. And that's useful. Slipped in for Vargas. One-on-one. Vargas! It's all Sporting KC2 this afternoon in Burnaby. A lovely through ball from Ortiz. And Lenis Vargas back in action for the first time in MLS Next Pro 2024. Finds a goal to go along with his assist. Vancouver Whitecaps FC 2, 0. SKC 2.
Substitution of 4, Whitecaps FC 2, leading the game, number 52, Nicolas Bordeaux-Chateau. And in the game, number 63, Ryan Ilumi.
4th substitution of the match now made by Ricardo Clark.
Sporting KC,
not the most influential afternoon from their leading goal scorer, Nicolas Bordeaux-Chateau. As he is replaced by the 16-year-old Ryan Ilumi on for his 3rd appearance. A few weeks shy of his 17th birthday. Fresh legs on as the result of the match now looks all but certain. Well, I had alluded to the fantastic week for the first teams of each of these clubs. Fantastic footwork from Coupland. bit off more than he could chew in the end. Vancouver on Wednesday, 1-0 victory at home in the second leg over Pacific FC. 2-0 on aggregate and into the Canadian Championship final. They will host at BC Place Wednesday, September the 25th against Toronto. Meanwhile, Sporting into the US Open Cup final on the backs of their 2-0 victory over Indy 11 on Tuesday in the semifinal. They will travel to LA. Same day for the Lamar Hunt US Open Cup final as the Canadian Championship final. BMO Stadium, the sites where SKC will once again look to lift the Open Cup trophy. Fantastic week as well for the SKC2 manager, Benny Feilhaber, as he was inducted as a sporting legend last weekend. So yeah, a lot of family and friends that were able to make it to the stadium that day. His side are looking for more, and they nearly found it. Mbale in behind, and his shot tackled off his boot. SKC2 looked for a fifth. Feilhaber said getting to the final is a bit of a boost for the club. From top to bottom, a year that has seen some difficulties. That's a stellar challenge from Nakala, who looks as though he's run himself into the ground. Clever touch from Donovan. No foul though, and now it's Vancouver's opportunity, short-handed but racing on the counter through their teenager Elumi. Brought down from behind. No, he wasn't. It was a fantastic backtracking run. Leo Cristiano picks up the foul. Plaudits from his teammates as well. Wonderful work rates from the 17-year-olds. Sporting coming into today on back-to-back shutouts. Inconsistency in the lineup over the past month or so. Back in the goals in a huge way here today. Robinson went to grounds. Many in attendance convinced that was a penalty. Coupland tried to make his way into the area. Perfect start to the road trip, it appears, for Sporting. Meanwhile, the homestand for Vancouver not going their way. Points, well, I should say a point dropped, as they did emerge victorious. Kicks from the mark against LA. Thrashed here today, albeit with the help of a sending off. And a big challenge coming up next up as they welcome in first in the West, North Texas, on September the 8th. Thanks to Town and Tacoma. Two teams also in the playoffs as it stands. Very tricky run in here for Vancouver as they are trying to avoid a slip out of the playoffs, as they then have to head on the road for their final two games of the season, away to Austin and Houston. Benny Feilhaber said he thinks his team needs to win 4 out of their remaining 6 to have a real shot at the playoffs. are going to pick up the first here today with this fine performance on the road in Vancouver. Yes, they were aided by that red card. First half sending off to Sadi Khan. But they were already a goal to the good. Had the better of the chances to that point in the game as well. I had asked Ricardo Clark about the recent slip-up in form for Vancouver too. He said it was a lack of consistency. They needed start to finish in all of their phases and moments. Just been struggling with that as of late. Got away from it a little bit. Don't think this performance will bolster his confidence in that regard. The way they gave up the opener, and then the simple ball over the top that led to the sending off, certainly you would think would frustrate Rico Clark as he watches the tape back from this one. Into the final minute of the 90. Linder. Striding forward, is pass to the end line, cut back. Coupland's header gobbled up at the near post by Sheway. Hasn't really been tested, the Sporting goalkeeper, throughout the course of the match. The biggest couple of chances for Vancouver. That first half effort, double effort from Herdman. Spilled initially and onto the post on the rebounds.
That there will be a minimum
Really,
3 minutes of added time in the second half.
That's big chance following the penalty save. Could have perhaps changed the end result here today. Into 3 additional minutes at the end of the 90. Bit of a cramp issue, it appears, for perhaps the man of the match. Goal and an assist in the second half for Alenis Vargas in his 2024 MLS Next Pro debut. He's got 16 games in MLS this year with 2 goals and an assist. Wonderful usage of the run-outs with the first team off this weekend. And a successful trip to Vancouver, albeit now with a bit of an injury knock. So perhaps just a slight blight on an otherwise fantastic trip to Canada for the boys in Sporting Blue. As it stands, it's going to be just the 2nd clean sheet of the year for Sporting. Both of them will have been earned by Ryan Sheway. And he'll be happy to push his personal record above 500. 5th win for Sheway in goal now, with 4 losses and 4 ties in that run of starts. Game just ambling towards the full-time whistle. Herdman looking to change that. Floating in over the top, a beautiful ball. Alumi thought he had scored. And Sheway, Sporting, see their clean sheet preserved. Cleared off the line fantastically by Cristiano. Sheway might have gotten a touch as well. A late corner for Vancouver to try and find a consolation. They nearly did with that superb ball over the top from their captain. Corner towards the back stick. McKenzie was there challenging, got underneath it, and he pops his header out of play, which will be the last act of the match. A comprehensive performance and victory from the visitors, Sporting Kansas City 2. They got off and running, pouncing on a mistake early on as Cameron Habibullah guts the game going in the 4th minute. 2 goals in the end for Habibullah, and he is our man of the match here this afternoon. Today's man of the match is Cameron Habibullah and is presented by Adidas. 2 goals against his former club. He got the goal scoring started in the 4th minute and then in the 5th minute of the second half. The seconds that really eased the worries of Sporting Kansas City. It was a first half sending off for Vancouver that's helped Sporting in their quest here today. A huge victory on the road as Sporting try and make their march into the playoff positions. For our entire MLS Next Pro broadcast crew, I'm Carter Augustine. Once again, our final score, Vancouver Whitecaps FC 2-0, Sporting KC 2-4. Thanks for joining. Don't forget, you can watch MLS Next Pro all season long at MLS Season Pass on Apple TV and MLSNextPro.com. Thanks for watching. Have a fabulous evening.
This copyrighted broadcast of Major League Soccer may not be retransmitted, reproduced, or rebroadcast without the express written consent of Major League Soccer.